One love to the humble, one love to the humble, one love to the humble. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you. I got something for you today, a video request from Trey Day, good brother Trey Day. Another video request. And this video request is, why are black women bashing black men? Why are black women bashing black men? That's a good question. And why is there so much hate? You know what I'm saying? Why is there so much hate between black women and black men? What has happened? A lot of things has happened that caused us to be in this situation that we're in. Now I took some notes here. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. And the reason why I wrote some notes is because there's certain things I wanted to point out. Now, this is something that I don't need any notes for, but it's something in particular that I wanted to point out, which is why I wrote these notes. And I think it's important. But the question still is, why are black women bashing black men? Well, there's some history behind it. And the short answer is feminism. Feminism is the answer, period. That's the reason why. I mean, it's no secret about that. Some people may not understand the correlation, but it's exactly what's happened. And there were 4 waves of feminism. The first wave was 1848 to 1920, which is 1849 was when Harriet Tubman was freeing the slaves. So you think about that. 1963 to 1980s, which in 1965 was in the 60s, was when the civil rights movement was ramping up, and it really got real active around about 65 is when it was really gaining some ground and some real notoriety. Then you had the third wave was in 1990 to present, which is the fourth wave, what's going on right now, present day. So the third and fourth wave feminism overlapped. That's what's going on now. Like the 1990s third wave and the present day feminism, it overlapped, which is why you have these problems. And some people say, well, I don't even know how they even make sense. Don't worry. The feminists don't even know either. See, first wave feminism during the 1848 and 1848. Slavery ended in 1865. So 1848, we were still in slavery. Black men and women was out there picking cotton. Well, they was doing more than picking cotton, but that's the one that we always talk about is picking cotton. But bottom line, 1848, black men and women were slaves. We had nothing to do with politics. We had nothing to do with rights because we didn't have any. We was in there together, going through it together. And then around about 1963, we had been free for a little while, and that was when the civil rights happened. Once again, we were still, for the most part, together during the civil rights, but there were groups of us that had separated, where there were some women that had separated from the civil rights, and they had really gotten to the second wave of feminism. But what they did was they took the structure of the civil rights movement, and they took the fight of the civil rights movement, the momentum of the civil rights movement, and they latched onto it. So they included their fight inside of the civil rights movement. That part didn't get glorified today, but if you was alive back then, you probably would have seen that happening at the simultaneously along with the civil rights. That wasn't what was talked about then, because the civil rights leader was talking about civil rights. Those people were talking about what they were talking about. They got airtime too, but it's not promoted today like that was, okay? So then you got the 1990s. If you was old enough in the 1990s, you saw this firsthand where they started intertwining feminism with music. We had songs by TLC like No Scrubs. You start hearing a lot more songs talking about men in a negative light. That's what you was hearing in the 90s. Now, in the 90s, you see, like, that was my era of growing up. I was a teenager in the 90s. So I seen that firsthand what was happening. They had started this men ain't ish stuff. It really kicked into high gear in the 90s. So no matter what a man did, It just it's like, men ain't this. Man, it's when it really started. It really took on some heavy promotion and propaganda, really heavy during that time. And then you got today. You got the results of that today. Like a lot of people who's doing that, either they were young at the time, and they were like kids in the '90s, not like teenagers. I'm talking about like they were kids in the '90s. They heard that, and a lot of them are in their 30s, mid 30s to 40s today, and then the children of those people who were teenagers like me, they should be like 24, 25 today because they're probably born like 2000 or 2005, anywhere like that. They're in their 20s. The young women are now in their 20s to 25, and that's how a lot of them think. It's a lot of hatred and a lot of bashing towards men, but it's because of feminism. And what the first and second wave feminism was not about what it's about today. Now today, if you go ask 10 feminists what is feminism, they're all gonna give you their version because it's different for everybody. There's no set standard of what it is. It's just all about what they feel like it is for them. That's what it is. But that's what has caused this problem. And then with all these movements, what tend to happen is they wanted to overcorrect for a time period that women were held back, right? They want to correct for that time period. Like they wanted when women got the right to vote, when women got the right to start going to college, getting jobs. But see, what a lot of people don't know about that is this: a lot of women back then, before the '90s, I'm not talking about '90s, I'm talking about a little further back, before women had the right to vote. Most of those women didn't want to vote. They didn't want to go out in the workforce. They didn't want to. But you had those ones that did. And I'm almost certain that the ones that wanted to go out was the ones that didn't have husbands, that couldn't get men, or maybe they wasn't attracted to men. But we know how that go. But I'm going to say that a lot of women didn't want that. And the reason why they didn't want it, because of the responsibility that came with voting back then. And it's still this way today. See, voting during that time, men always had to vote because men were expected to go to war. Men were expected to go to war, so they had more privilege to vote. Women didn't want to go to war, so they didn't want to really vote. They didn't want to get involved in the politics because they felt like their voice was stronger outside of politics than it is being involved in politics. But since they got involved, they fought to get what they got. They fought for it. So then they gave it to them. But one thing they didn't give women at the time was they gave them the right to vote, but women never had to sign up for military service. Still to this day, when a man turns 18, he has to sign up for selective service. He don't have a choice. What I mean by sign up for selective service is he don't have to join the military, but he got to sign a card saying that if a draft comes, he has to go. Women don't have to do that. But see, women was fighting for all these rights, but they wasn't fighting for all the rights. See, women don't really want equality. That's not what they want. It's something else. But I don't want to get off track. So they got the right to vote. They didn't have responsibility, and then they wanted more. So they said, now we want college, we want positions of power, we want to make money, we want to do all of that. But see, back then, that same time frame, women didn't have to have bank accounts. They didn't have to have jobs. Because during that time, what would happen is any debt that the women obtained, the husband was responsible for that debt. The women didn't have to pay no debts. The women didn't owe any debts. They could run up whatever tab they wanted, and their husband had to pay for it. But see, some of those women broke away and they wanted their own. I wanted to work. I want my bank account. I want this, I want that. And they got it. But if you look at today, what that has caused today is women hold the most debt out of everybody. Women hold the most debt because women spend more than anybody else. Because now they got their own bank accounts, they got their own jobs, they can do this, they can do that, and they carry more debt than anybody else because they spend more than anybody else. Everything is catered toward selling to them. But anyway, this is feminism, right? And they no longer wanted to do the house duties. They no longer wanted to be the stay-at-home wife. They wanted to get out there in the workforce. Well, their wages were higher before they encouraged women to get in the workforce. But see, you flood the workforce with more workers, what tends to happen is the wages are going to go down because the businesses is not going to pay a high wage to a saturated market. That's not how it works. So if you complaining today about things are so high and jobs ain't paying, well, this started a long time ago, probably before you was born, that led up to this time we living in right now. Because before any job field that is male dominated is high paying still. But any job field they had to divide it up where women entered as well as men, the wages dropped. They couldn't help it. They had to drop the wages down. But I keep seeing little things in here, but I want to stick to what I'm talking about, which is feminism, right? So women want to go to college. So now they say women are the most enrolled in college. Men are probably about the same way it's always been. It's never been any different, right? For men, it's never been different. It's been about the same. Our college enrollment, our college attendance, and things like that. It's remained pretty steady since they got it recorded. Well, you know, women's stuff skyrocketed at one point. They was the most enrolled, not the most graduated, but they were definitely the most enrolled. But what that did was, because his women are hypergamous, so they have a hypergamous nature. So what it did was when they put them in college, they started feeling like, I'm better. I got a college degree now, so now I need somebody on my level. See, this is how this hatred starts. They say, oh, I need somebody on my level. I need somebody making the same amount of money as me. Because women don't date down. Women date up. They don't date down financially. They date across the board or up when it comes to finances. They don't date down because women are always looking for security. So no matter how much money she makes, she's still going to look for somebody that's making the same amount or higher than her. She's not going to go with somebody down. They say that. Don't go by what they say. Go by what they do. So that's the first thing. So when they got into college, now they start saying, "Oh, they start feeling like they're, self-inflated, overinflated ego started to kick in. When women get power, they become different type of people. So they look at it like, well, I got education, I got this degree, I need somebody that's on my level. Now they're gonna think if they see a man that doesn't have what they have, that man is nothing. He's not good enough. He's nobody. He's gonna get talked down on because they feel they're better than them because they have this degree. Because that's what they think is important. But that men don't care about that kind of stuff. Men don't care about how much money you got. Men don't care about your degree because that's not what we value in women. Men and women value different things in each other. That's how that goes. So then they start making more money. They no longer want to do what the women of the past did. They want to be equal to men. This is where the competition and hatred come in at because they're going to compete with you. It's no longer about being compatible. It's about competition. So when I'm competing with somebody, I do everything to tear them down because I want to be looked at as above them. See, that's all part of the plan, all part of the puzzle. If you uplift them up, they'll tear down everything else around them. That's just the way it goes. And you might not understand that. And the other part of it is they don't really understand men. So when they make choices, let me rephrase that. I think I'm getting a little off track. Let me get back on track. So the hatred part comes from things like this. If I'm making this type of money, as a woman, when she makes this type of money, it's going to be hard for her to find a man that's going to take her seriously. So the men that she's looking at, they don't want her the way she wants them because she's looking like, well, he on my level, he has what I have, he has more than me, and you try to date him. But see, them men that has all that type of education and money, they're not looking for another them. See, she just became the man that she's looking for. He don't want that. So what happened is she's gonna get used. He's gonna keep her around. He's gonna drag her along. He's gonna only use her for sex, and then he's gonna go and marry the woman without the degree, without any of those things. And then she don't understand why that happened, because she's been told all this time that these are the things that I need to do in order to get married. Because you know all these TV shows, right? They show these women successful get with these other successful men on the shows. Or these entertainers, they show all of that, and then they think like, oh, that's what it's about. That's how it's supposed to be. And you see things like couple goals, power couples, no such thing. It's all entertainment. But they believe this is real. They think it's a real thing, and it's not. That's not how men really are when it comes to relationships. Men don't look for their equals. Women look for somebody on their level or higher. Men are they down, so to speak. It's not down to men because we're not looking at from a financial perspective when we're looking for a significant other. We're looking at something different. We don't care about your money and your accolades and all that. It don't mean that to us. So when especially somebody who got some money, so then she get used and abused, then she start hating men, and then they have a bad way of picking men. So they don't pick based on what's good for them. They pick on what makes them feel good. See, there's a difference. What makes you feel good and what's good for you is two different things. But they're always going to pick what makes them feel good over what's good for them. And then they get used and abused again. That just create more hate. So now we got hate from the relationship. We got hate because I can't find nobody to match me. We got hate because the guy they want dogged them out and they want them back. And when they married somebody else that didn't have as much as they had. See, that's building up hatred as you go along. And then the more they get around certain type of people and do certain type of things, their standards start going up. As they get older, their standards go up. And that's a backwards way to think, but that's what happens. They can't help it. That's how they start thinking. Their standards gonna go up as they get older. And the higher your standards is, the least chance you got of finding what you're trying to find. Because there's nobody out here that's 100% good like that. But they think so. And then they're mad again because here's more animosity, here's more hatred. Nobody's meeting this. And what they're going to say is, well, these dudes need to step up. Nah, they need to step up. You just got to get rid of them unrealistic standards. And then with social media has created another problem. Has given them inflated self-worth. Like their self-worth is so inflated. It's way higher than what it really is. Because there's somebody somewhere, there's some man somewhere is always willing to say to them whatever they want to hear. Because he's trying to shoot a shot. He don't really want to be in a relationship. He want one thing. And he know that he got to tell her what she want to hear. See what I'm saying? He started telling her what she want to hear. And then he get what he want. She don't get what she want. She's angry again. There's building up more animosity. More hatred is starting to build. You see what's going on now? You see how this is building up? It starts with feminism started it. And then all these things are just compounding on top of each other. And they're getting angrier and angrier and angrier. Because for some reason they think we just doing them dirty. When the whole time it's not us, it's them. They changed. They don't realize it. They don't really understand men and what men really want. And when you tell them, they don't want to hear that because they want you to want what they want you to want, not what you want. They don't care what you want. They want what they want, and if you don't do what they want, then you a problem. You see, it's starting to build up now. And then they're also hive-minded, meaning like they scared to think outside. Like if it's a group of them together, they always just go along with it because the group say so. Even if they don't agree, they're gonna just go along with it because the group say so. So that's why you got the sisterhood. All the women that come together and they're band together, and even if they wrong, they're gonna all agree. So once the momentum start with men ain't this, they're all gonna just jump on that bandwagon and start saying it just because. And once you start saying something long enough, even if it's a lie, it becomes the truth. You guys see how this stuff is compounding now? I hope you're following what I'm saying. And also they experience, they're more neurotic than men are, meaning they experience more self-doubt, more anxiety, and more anxiety, more negative feelings, and more self-doubt. That's naturally the way they are. They have to be constantly they have to be constantly validated to feel like this, because they just naturally have self-doubt and anxiety. It's just a natural thing. They can't help. They got it. They're insecure, very insecure all the time. So that's why when if they think that like a man don't want to do something, they'll call him insecure. not realizing it ain't the same for both for us. I mean, not saying men don't experience it, but women experience it way, way at another level than men do. The other thing that creates hatred and bashing against men is a lot of these women they never had a father. They never had a decent father in their life. They either don't know who their father is, or they never had a decent one. So their idea of what a man is, they don't even know. But they just hate men because of that father did something that they hate. He wasn't there for them, so they have no respect for men. He may have abused them if he was, no, not he, but like some women bring stepfathers around their children too early, and they have daughters especially. They shouldn't do that, but they do it anyway because they worry about themselves, not about their daughter. And then that man may have done something to that daughter in a bad way, and that made her lose respect for men, which will, once you add that plus all the things I just named, that's another thing compounded on top, creating more hatred. Creating more hatred. Um, you know, I'm just get off of these notes, man. I'm just gonna talk to y'all straight up right now. The bottom line is, man, black women have been destroyed mentally. If you look at them, how they operating today, not all of them, but most of them have been destroyed. And they fell into this feminist mindset. They've lost all their guidance. They don't have a man over them to guide them and lead them. And now that they have gotten in a position to be independent, it's going to be almost impossible to rebuild that relationship between us. They hate men. They hate men because they're in the deep down inside, they're really jealous that they can't be men. But this is just the way it is. And they've been told and told so many times that men ain't this, men ain't that, and they continue to repeat it. They've been told that they're equal to men, that they can do what men can do, but in reality, you really can't. But that's what they tell them. So when they see you, they don't see you as somebody to look up to and respect. They see you as they're equal or they're better than you, and they see you as competition. There's no way you can have any respect for your competition on that level. You know what I'm saying? If you think you're better than your competition, you're not going to respect them. And when you don't respect men, men hold respect on the same level as women want to be loved. The way women look at being loved, that how bad they want to be loved, that's how men look at respect. Men take each other off the planet for disrespect. But women are bashing men and doing all kind of crazy things now because they somehow think that black men have something that they don't have. We have been in the same boat, in the same position forever, and we still are. The gates have been opened up for you, but instead of you coming back with respect, you come back on the high horse that you're better than because you have an education. Well, your education is good for you, but what it does not do is make you more attractive to men. Men don't care about your education at all. It's like, oh, that's good for you, but what we're looking at is not that. And you want us to, and they want you to look at that and care about it. And when you don't, it makes them upset because they saying, well, I put all my time and effort into this to get to this point, and you don't care about it. Well, it ain't your fault as a man. They was lied to. They was lied to about that. They don't know what men really want. They're confused. They don't understand the difference between what a man considers a wife and what a man considers this. See, men, the reason why they get upset with you also because, see, we don't diss them on the front end. We diss them on the back end. Meaning we'll do all kind of things with them and they all feel like something going down and then we ghost. But that's because you knew that she wasn't wife material. That upsets her because she feel like you took something from her and she got nothing back. That's just the way it is. Women diss you up front. Men diss later on the backside. So that's a little bit different. And these dynamics, we don't understand these. They don't understand these dynamics. Some men don't even understand these dynamics, but that's the reason why they are also upset. Because they get to it. They do all this career, all this education, and they getting older. They don't realize that men are not attracted to older women like that. Men are attracted to younger women. I don't care what age she is. They done a study on this that showed that men between the ages of 18 and 65 found the women between 23 to 26 or something like that the most attractive. It doesn't change for us. Women like older men. Younger women like to see men look older. Older men like younger women. But when this come to act out in real time, Women don't like that because they say, well, I put all this time in to do all these things, and now I'm this age and I can't find nobody. Well, that's because you missed your time. You should have been doing both of them things at the same time. But since she wasn't doing them at the same time, she didn't got here. The men she want is looking at the women down here that's younger. That makes her upset. And so every time she gets this happens and she get upset, she's gonna start bashing. She's gonna get online bashing. And a lot of them are going through the same things. Every woman ain't wife material. It's just not the way it is. Some women are only for certain things. Just like women gonna put you as a man in certain categories. You only gonna be good for this, not this. But they don't like it when you do it back to them. So they're gonna bash. They're gonna start bashing. And a lot of these women that's bashing, they thought they was who. They thought they was somebody they wasn't. They thought they was wife material, and couldn't find out they wasn't. And then when the guy do them like that, they get mad. They want to bash. They're gonna start bashing all men. All men are this way. All men are not this way. It's just that you are not. She don't realize she's not wife type yet. And it's not that men are just doing her dirty. It's just that they don't see her. They only see her for one thing. Men marry women who are wise. They marry them. They don't marry women who are not wise. And then you got a few that might make a mistake and marry somebody who's not a wife, but then he'll probably correct it later. But if you present yourself as a wife, you're probably going to find yourself a husband. If you're not presenting yourself as a wife, then you probably ain't going to find no husband. But that upsets them, man. They are very, very upset about all of these things. But it's not the man's fault. Society lied to these women about what's real. And now it's done so embedded in their head, you can't tell them nothing different. And then you got social media. They can get on social media. They can start an OnlyFans. They can do all these things that is crazy, but they can do them. And that somehow make them feel empowered. And when you don't respect it, they're going to hate you. They're going to bash you for it. So in a nutshell, these are the reasons why they're bashing black men. Because black men have always been bashed. We're not necessarily doing certain things right, I agree. But this video is about why they're bashing. They're bashing because they can't find somebody compatible with them. They've done all these things, and most men that's even on their level don't want them because it's not what men look for in women. We don't care about your education. We don't need both of us doing the same thing. I need you to handle this while I handle this. I'm the breadwinner. I don't need another me. And they want you to need that. And if you don't need that, you don't want them like that, they're gonna get upset and start bashing. So and you add that on top of the feminist stuff and all the stuff that's going around right now, they're gonna continue to bash. And they don't want to be checked. They don't want to be called out. They don't want to be told nothing different. They want to stay in their la-la land, in their fantasy. And we try to snap them out of their fantasy, they're going to hate you for it. They're going to hate you for it, which is why they're doing what they're doing now. Anything you say, no matter if it's correct or if it's positive, you try to tell them a positive, to them it sounds like a negative, you ain't nothing. That's the way it goes. They want to be you, and they can't be, and they hate it, and they don't want to follow. They don't want to listen. They want you to want them as an independent person. That can't happen. It don't even make sense. It don't even match up. So they hate you for it. They're gonna keep bashing you until you give in. As long as you don't ever give in, they're gonna keep on bashing. But it's they the ones who gonna be hurting. If they gonna threaten you into, bash you into, shaming you into doing it. But you know it's not gonna be a good time for you if you do that. So just remember what I said. I hope this video was good enough for you. Y'all take care.